Sorry. Hi, it's Erica. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to scare you, but not scare you, because I know that a lot of people who watch my videos may have cerebral palsy, or they may be autistic, so they may have a startle reflex or just be sensitive to sound. So I didn't want to scare you, but I wanted to open it up with a little Halloween theme, because this is my Halloween special video. I'm wearing my Halloween sweatshirt, and if you like it, you probably won't be able to get this exact one, but I got it from a woman on Instagram who thrifts and embroiders stuff. Is that how you say it? Embroider. And I think her handle is Daisy Dream Thrift. So I'll link her her Instagram down below, so that if you want her to embroider something for you, you can get it, because she does this cool little design with a skeleton juggling skulls. And I know she also does one of a drunk Teletubby, which I also have a little cropped t-shirt of that, and I really like it. So yeah. Today I'm going to be talking about some horror movies that involve disability, and I'm going to be reviewing them more from a disability lens than from a horror lens. But of course, I'm not a big horror movie fan, but I do like horror movies, but I'm not one of those people that's looking for the scariest movie possible to scare the shit out of me. I'm not that type of person. I get scared pretty easily. So these aren't gonna be the top horror movies ever. But I just want to give a warning that this video will contain spoilers for these movies, but I'm gonna have a little thing on the screen before I talk about each movie, so hopefully if you don't want to watch that segment, you can then skip to the next segment. So yeah, and also if you don't like horror movies, you may not like this video. I mean, I'm not gonna go into graphic detail about things, because I'm mostly focusing on the disability aspect of things. But yeah. The first movie I am going to be talking about is a movie that came out, I believe, in 2019. I probably should have written this down, but I did not. And the movie is called Run. Now, it is about a woman in a wheelchair who lives with her mom, and her mom is played by Sarah Paulson, who I'm sure a lot of people know. But the actress is actually disabled in real life. She uses a wheelchair. I will put some more information about her here during editing, but she's basically homeschooled by her mother, and she's very sheltered from the rest of the world. And her mother says it's because she's very sick. She has diabetes and asthma, and she has a spinal cord injury, and she just has all of these major health issues. So her mother kind of shelters her from the rest of the world. Now, I am very happy to see a disabled actor getting a part. That is what I really like about this movie, is that the woman who plays the main role she uses a wheelchair and she is disabled, and I think representation really matters. But there are some things I don't like about them. Okay, so, sorry. The actress from Run's name is Kiera Allen, and she uses a wheelchair, and also the character she played name was Chloe. For some reason I couldn't think of it because I watched the movie like 3 weeks ago now, like at the beginning of October, or maybe even the end of September. So yeah, that's probably why I could not remember. This is where there are going to be some spoilers. So the plot, while my interpretation of the movie was that the main character was actually disabled, but the plot did include some themes of like Munchausen's by proxy, which, if you don't know what that is, it is basically a psychiatric disorder where someone, usually a caretaker, will make the person that they're taking care of sick so that they can kind of feel some sort of a purpose and take care of the person. And that is what her mom was basically doing, was keeping her sick and keeping her on all these medications she didn't need to be on, and like hiding her away from the rest of the world. And number one, I think that trope is way overdone. Like, we've seen that in the show, in the Hulu show, in the act. We've seen that in, if you've watched Sharp Objects, that it was in that show. I feel like it's just been a very common trope recently, because people are very fascinated with the idea of Munchausen's by proxy. But here's why I did not like it. Like, the one time we get disability representation, it's like the whole fake disability thing, like her mother is making her disabled and she's not really disabled. But I mean, in the end, the woman was still disabled, and it wasn't clear to me whether she was disabled the whole time or if she became disabled by all of the medications and stuff that she was taking that she didn't need. So yeah. So that's something I didn't like about the movie, and I really felt that the movie had lots of potential that it just did not meet, because they were more interested in going the trendy route instead of trying to be we have a protagonist who uses a wheelchair. Maybe we could really think outside the box here and make a really exciting film that a lot of disabled people that like horror movies will enjoy. But instead they wanted to be let's go with what's trendy now. Munchausen's by proxy is in a lot of films and TV shows right now, so let's go that route. And So yeah, I was kind of disappointed in that. I was like, you could have done so much more, and you didn't. So those are my thoughts on Run. And if you've seen the movie and you have thoughts, please leave them down below, because I always like hearing other people's opinions, because obviously, like, I'm not the authority on all that. I don't get the final say in things. This is just my opinion. And in the next movie I am going to be discussing today is Hush. Now, this movie came out a few years ago, and it is starring Kate Siegel, who was in The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. So she's in quite a few of those haunting movies on Netflix. So you might recognize her from there. But she played a character named Maddie, who is deaf. But the thing is, and this is my problem with a lot of movies involving disability, is that Kate Siegel is not deaf. So I really feel like they could have picked an actor that was actually deaf to play that role. But instead, they're like, nope, let's go with Kate Siegel. But I mean, to be fair, her husband was also either the director, the producer, or the screenwriter. I should know this, but I don't know. But he was like very, very heavily involved in this project, and I think Kate Siegel herself also was one of the screenwriters. So that's probably one of the reasons why she was picked. But besides that, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it was interesting because they really played around with, like, since Maddie was deaf and she was alone in her home, and she had like her neighbor who she seemed to be pretty close with. And it was just a very interesting movie, and it was very suspenseful, and it really played around with ideas of communication, because the main character was deaf. So like at one point she wrote on the window with lipstick, and I think it showed a lot of, I don't know if I want to say crip genius, but some ways of crip thinking that people who are non-disabled may not think of. And I think that was good because it shows that being disabled is not just a weakness. Like there are many ways that being disabled can also be beneficial. You know, like we have ideas like interdependence and stuff that I think most of non-disabled society does not really value that type of thing. But when you're disabled, you come to value that. So yeah, I really liked how like they played around with different ideas of communication, and how Maddie used like different senses to like find where the killer was, like the vibrations above her when he was walking on like up the stairs, and she was hiding like under there. So I really enjoyed that because I think that was a really interesting way to make that movie. But I do wish that Maddie was played by a deaf actor, because I think it's high time that we give deaf actors roles in movies. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Hush. Okay, so the next movie I am going to be talking about is a Quiet Place. I've only seen the first one, not the second one, so sorry if you wanted me to talk about the second one, but yeah. So this movie is very interesting, and I don't know if I would call it a horror movie or more of like a sci-fi, like dystopian future type of movie. But so basically, if you haven't seen this movie, this is going to contain spoilers, I guess. It's about a family that lives in this place where there's this blind monster. The monster is blind. That's not what makes the monster a monster. So don't worry, it's not that ableist trope. But so it's a monster that cannot see, but it can hear. So that's why the movie is called A Quiet Place, because the family has to be very quiet at all times. Like, they can't say anything, they can't like breathe a certain, like, it's scary. I would not survive in this place because I talk a lot, and also just because my CP, like the way I walk, is inherently loud, so I would not survive there. But what I like about this movie was one of the daughters in the family, I believe in the movie her name is Reagan, but I don't know. But who she's played by an actual deaf actor, Millicent Simmons, which I thought was really good. It's very good to give deaf actors roles, obviously. And just the way, and this is kind of like Hush, but the way that the movie really played with the idea of communication, like the whole family had to sign instead of speaking because they had to be quiet. And yeah, they just had to be very, like, they had to think about every action because they didn't want to get killed by this monster. And I don't blame them. I would not. Then this monster's kind of scary looking, and I don't think that would be a pleasant thing to happen to you. But I mean, the film itself, like, there were some lag times where I kind of got bored, but I mean, that might just be me. Other people might not agree, you know? Like, and I feel like the movie did not develop characters as much as they could have. Like in Hush, I felt like I knew much more about the character Hattie than I knew about the Abbott family in a Quiet Place. So it's not just because they had to be quiet, because in Hush, the protagonist is deaf, so she's hiding the whole time. So like, they could have still really worked on developing the characters, and I really wish they had done that. Maybe they did that in the second film. If you've seen it, you can comment down below if you thought the second film did a better job of developing the characters or not. But yeah, those are my thoughts on a Quiet Place. I have nothing really against it as far as disability wise. I just thought they could have developed the characters more, but it's not, in my opinion, there was nothing inherently problematic about the film. So yeah. Okay, so the next film I am going to be talking about is Hereditary, and now this film doesn't involve disability per se, but one of the actors is disabled in real life, so I thought I would feature it in this video. So if you who don't know, the actor who played the character Charlie, his name is Millie Shapiro, and in real life they have a disability. Wait, let me just make sure I'm saying this. So I'm going to read off the disability that the main actress who played Charlie has. The disability that Millie Shapiro has is a rare genetic disorder called lido or lidocranial dysplasia, and that is the same disability, if you watch Stranger Things, that the actor Hayden Matarazzo, who plays Huston, has. I hope I pronounced his name right. Hopefully. Yeah. Some things about Hereditary that I liked and did not like. So, the plot was very interesting. I'd never seen a movie like that before, and maybe because I don't watch enough movies. So maybe if you watch a lot of movies, you're like, it wasn't that unique. But at least from my perspective and my knowledge of movies, it was pretty unique. And so I really enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed the disability representation that we got from that movie. But one of my concerns, and this may be an unfounded concern to be fair, but also the person I was watching this movie with, who I don't think watches my channel, but in case they do, then hi. You know who you are. But the person I was watching this with also said he thought that that the character Charlie was meant to be autistic, and I just had some concerns with the way it was portrayed, because I felt like they made the main character Charlie as like this sadistic person, and I think that is a stereotype about autism, that people are like unfeeling and sadistic and detached, and it's like some autistic people may be like that, but that doesn't make people monsters, even if they are more attached. But also not every autistic person, like, I feel like there's this misconception about autism that people don't have like feelings or empathy, when in fact most autistic people do, and even people who do not have empathy, like, that doesn't make people bad people. So that is one of my concerns with the movie. But yeah, that is it for the horror movies I am reviewing for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have seen any of these movies, please comment your thoughts down below. And if you have seen any other movies that involved disability and you think I might like them, or other people in the comment section may like them, then feel free to list them down below, because I'm always looking for new movies to watch. Even though I mostly watch TV shows and YouTube, I can still sit down and watch a movie. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please consider giving it a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.